Next on Newsbeat, a toddler locked inside a plane's overhead bin. We'll tell you what happened.
Plus, check your cabinets, a major recall involving peanut butter. Find out the problem.
But first, the battle for Libya rages on as the country's embattled leader ignores pressure to step down. Rebel forces loyal to Muammar Gaddafi are fighting for control over numerous towns near the capital, Tripoli. Good morning, I'm Anna Samovska.
And I'm John Treeweiler. The military is using airstrikes in an attempt to take back a key oil port and stop the rebels from advancing. However, just 30 miles from the capital, Gaddafi's ground forces have launched assaults and now control all access there. Our estimates that thousands of people have been killed in the uprising. Gaddafi downplays the violence and blames al-Qaeda for turning civilians and soldiers against him. The White House says the U.S. and NATO are looking at all options, including military intervention.
In the meantime, the crisis in the Middle East is hitting close to home for some.
Chicago has a huge Middle Eastern population. Jennifer Sheehan has the story of a region that knows all too well of the violence.
Tensions in the Middle East are just not letting up. In fact, they seem to be spreading. As countries like Egypt, Tunisia, the Ivory Coast, and Libya get added to the list, we can only imagine what countries might uprise next. Nadir set up a Facebook page to connect families in Chicago to their families in Egypt.
They have an ability to kind of build things internally, really see that people's voices are heard.
And even though the past government has been taken down, the future of Egypt is still on the drawing board.
The Egyptian public knew there was a lot of corruption, but they weren't aware that it was to this extent.
I like to say one thing to everybody in Egypt. They have this awesome opportunity right now to build their world the way that they want it to be built. Our eyes are on them. We're looking at them, and we're really waiting and hoping to see some awesome changes.
Meanwhile, in Libya, as Gaddafi fights to stay in power, we see a different revolution happening, a revolution that some consider a civil war.
I think a no-fly zone is as far as we might consider, and only again to prevent massacre from taking place.
Over 2,000 Libyans have been killed, and the U.S. is becoming more and more concerned on what they can do to help the rebels.
Colonel Gaddafi needs to step down from power and leave.
Do the uprisings in the Middle East end with Libya? Well, one man named Jacques doesn't seem to think so. He grew up in northern Africa, and he seems to think that Senegal might be next.
Some they say it will happen. They start speaking it will happen in the news. Many leaders, they steal money. Mm-hmm. When they become in the minister in the cabinet of the government, they can buy a house, 4 million, buy a car like 200,000 cash.
The cost of living has spiraled. Protests have flared because of President Abdoulaye Wade's attempt to run for a third term, as well as the increasing influence of his son. One man even set himself on fire in protest.
And many leaving to fight against him because they don't want his son.
If you want a more in-depth look as to what is going on in the Middle East, ask your neighbors. You'd be surprised to hear how many of them have family members that are directly affected by what is going on in the revolutions.
Now, Jennifer, what can Chicagoans do? Anything they can do to help?
Learn about it. Ask your government officials what they think to take action, and donate. Donate to the refugees.
All right. Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer. And unrest in the Middle East and high demand here continues to drive up gas prices. Take a look, nearly $4 a gallon for regular unleaded at this station in the Loop. Some drivers are even heading across state lines to Indiana to avoid the hike, with no sign of oil prices dropping anytime soon. And Northwestern professor John Bailey has apologized for letting a live sex act take place as part of his human sexuality course. The recent controversy has taken a beating on Northwestern's reputation. Detailed information was given to students about what would happen during the act. Bailey said in a written apology that he was surprised by the reaction.
No way. Cook County board officials have rejected Todd Stroger's request for unemployment benefits. The former Cook County board president filed about a month after he left office. Illinois state law exempts elected officials from receiving those benefits. Stroger earned about $170,000 a year as Cook County board president. Trash collecting in Chicago is going high-tech. The city has purchased at least 400 solar-powered trash compactors to be installed downtown. The machines are powered by solar batteries, which can alert city workers when they are full. They compact trash so workers would make fewer trips to empty them. Officials say the new system could save taxpayers millions of dollars.
A major recall involving a popular brand of peanut butter. Ahead on Newsbeat, find out if it's in your cabinet.
Plus, a toddler ends up in an overhead bin on a flight. How it happened next.
And a major change to the free rides on the CTA. We'll tell you who it's affecting coming up. Stay with us.
Welcome home, man.
Coming home can be hard if you're a veteran of Iraq or Afghanistan. You may feel like you're all alone, but you're not alone. At IAVA.org, your fellow vets are all around you. Join our free online community, get the resources you need, and connect to other vets who know where you're coming from. IAVA.org. We've got your back.
Protests continue in Madison against Governor Walker's budget plan, but the governor is not backing down. Walker wants unions to pay more and end collective bargaining. Union supporters are calling on President Barack Obama to intervene. Governor Walker says he will issue layoffs if his bill isn't passed soon.
A flight attendant was fired after an angry mother accused him of locking her toddler in an overhead bin. It happened at a Virgin Blue flight. The flight attendant says the child's now estranged father was playing peekaboo with his son when he joined in. Virgin Blue later apologized to the mother and credited her for the full amount of the return flights.
A big oops out of San Francisco. Dozens of red balloons released as a video game promotion ended up in the San Francisco Bay. Many residents were angry because of the possible threat to the environment and fish, birds, and other wildlife. The creators of the balloon stunt say any risk is low because the balloons are soy-based and biodegradable.
And today is Fat Tuesday, and of course, there's no other place to be other than New Orleans. Many people from around the world gathered in the bayou for the festivities, from masked costumes to parties, and then New Orleans captures it all, the carnival at the end of it at midnight, happening tonight for the beginning of Lent. And coming up, Playboy is back on the spotlight. Listen in to why Hugh Hefner is sharing ownership.
Check your cabinets, find out what type of peanut butter has been taken off the shelves.
I'm Allison Rodriguez. Sunny skies, mild temperatures is more on the way. I'll have your forecast next.